Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Cop Council. How are we all? Hopefully, all of you are having a fantastic Saturday, wherever you are around the world. And why wouldn't you be? Of course, Liverpool have just beaten Accrington Stanley by 4-0. Of course, goals coming from Diogo Jota, Trent Alexander-Arnold, Jadon DANNS, and Federico Chiesa. Of course, obviously, great win for the Reds. Of course, obviously, it's great to, of course, get a good win in the FA Cup, of course, and as of course me saying that as well, of course, playing the kids, pretty much again, we're seeing, of course, Jadon DANNS scoring again today. Of course, obviously, heavy impacts from Rio and Guma. Of course, I think Trey Nioni as well also came on as well, and others that did come on as well. So let me know your guys' thoughts in the comments down below, because I think, look, again, first half was a bit of a slow start. I think pretty much Liverpool did very well in terms of, again, not suffering from, again, Accrington's counter-attack that they were clearly trying to do. I think Liverpool at one point had 82% possession of the ball, which, again, obviously we've seen throughout the years maybe where Liverpool have tried to push a bit too much and then, again, get caught, and then we're trying to chase the game in that aspect of things. But I think overall, Liverpool did very well. And, of course, obviously certain individual players, I think, did very, very well in many aspects as well, of course. So, again, let me know your guys' thoughts in the comments down below as well. If you are new around here, of course, please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and all that good stuff, of course, as well. Again, we're going to be live as well, I should say now. We'll probably be live again later on. Of course, there is a bit of news, I think, floating around, of course, with Kvaratskhelia. Of course, at the moment, it's going around on social media. Again, that supposedly he's asked to leave Napoli. So, again, we'll be live probably a bit later on for that. If there's any more news on that, we'll be live for it anyway. But again, sticking on Accrington game, again, like I said, I think it was overall a very good performance from Liverpool. Of course, obviously the main headline coming out of the game, Federico Chiesa getting his first Liverpool goal for Liverpool. I think everybody was a bit surprised he didn't start the game, considering, again, this was probably the game to start. But when he came on, he made an impact. I think everybody has kind of asked the same sort of questions with Federico Chiesa. Again, where is he? Where, supposedly he was meant to be the backup for Mohamed Salah, supposedly meant to be the guy to, again, be the backup pretty much for everyone, I would say. But we haven't seen him this season. We haven't been able to get the best out of Federico Chiesa due to fitness, and of course, Liverpool trying to get him back up to speed in terms of a mini pre-season. But now we're in January, we should be, pushing a little bit further on. I feel anyway we should be pushing him on a little bit more. But when he came on, for me, again, and I know, of course, me saying this again, it is Accrington. Again, no disrespect meant to them, but again, it is a bottom team of League Two. But again, he came on and instantly brought an impact. Every time he was on the ball, he looked like he was going to, go for goal every single time. I think he hit the post twice, I think, throughout the game as well. So I think overall, of course, good performance from him, off a baseline. And I'm hoping now, he can push on, and he can develop even more. Because, look, I think there is still a player there in Federico Chiesa, but it's just extracting the best out of him and, of course, keeping him fit. Because, again, we've seen, haven't we, chat, that so far, again, certainly I think towards the last couple of games, we've, of course, maybe been a bit fatigued in the squad overall. I think Mo Salah especially, I think against Spurs in the League Cup, looked very tired in consideration. If we now have Federico Chiesa to bring on and bring an added element towards the attack, I think that'll be perfect for Liverpool, if I'm being perfectly honest, as well, of course. And that's just, depending if we do or don't bring anybody in terms of the January transfer window. I do think, again, obviously having him, and getting Chiesa, obviously Diogo Jota as well, obviously adding more minutes to his legs today as well. I think that's great overall. I think overall Liverpool building up now, obviously the team going ahead now to the second part of the season, where again we can push on all fronts in that aspect of things, of course. Anyway, but of course, guys, let me know your start 11. Let me know your man of the match for the game as well. Because again, I know some people might even have Federico Chiesa in that bracket as well. 'Cause I thought he was very, very good when he did come on as well. Anyway, but Zane says first half was really good. Second half. Accrington were much better, but they didn't have the quality. Yeah, 100%. And look, I think everybody has to give praise to Accrington. Of course, obviously a big game for a few of those lads, of course, being Liverpool supporters, even on the coaching staff as well. I know there's a few Accrington staff members who are Liverpool supporters as well. So obviously, of course, they'd want to do their best against Liverpool. But look, I think they did very, very well. I think Accrington themselves, of course, hit the post, I think, once in the game. So again, they had opportunities to of course, put pressure on Liverpool. But I think we did very, very good. And I think, again, the youngsters did tremendously well. I think, again, when we talk about from back to front, I think, of course, Trent, I've got it, saved in the sheet for me. Back to normal for Trent. He was his commanding self. He was, again, the tempo setter for Liverpool. And again, of course, it is Accrington Stanley. Of course, you have to take that with a pinch of salt. But again, he was the main driving force for Liverpool. I think, especially in that first half in particular, I did think he was definitely the guy that if Liverpool was going to, break the deadlock, it would be Trent involved in some sense. Of course, obviously, nearly opened the scoring with that shot from about 20 yards outside the box. But then, of course, Diogo Jota ends up scoring from a really good counter attack, which again was probably the first time Accrington really got torn apart in that sense. Again, Liverpool couldn't really break them down. And then, of course, obviously they had a free kick and we just counter-attacked Darwin Núñez across the pitch to Jota, and it was a tap-in. But Trent's goal as well from outside the box, a brilliant goal, a typical Trent Alexander-Arnold. And, of course, you hope now, this is the building blocks now, of course, for Tuesday against, of course, Nottingham Forest, which, again, I think overall Liverpool obviously adding minutes to certain players. I think the big news, that probably hasn't really been spoken about by anyone. Supposedly, Ibu Kanate was supposed to be starting the game, and then Liverpool had to make a late change. So I don't know whether or not that's injury based or whether or not that was just a second, a judgmental, moment. Again, nobody's really, and again, I double checked before I came on, nobody really asked Arne Slot that either. So I'm hoping it's just the fact that people, some people that, knows the team news, again, they got it wrong, and hopefully Ibu is okay, because again, we're going to need him for that game against Forest in particular. But again, hopefully that is the case, and we do find out some good news in that sense as well. Anyway, but again, I will say he was back to his best today in terms of Trent as well. But look, again, one lad as well I want to also speak about, Rio Nguma. What a performance. Again, 16 years of age. Of course, I think now he's the youngest starter ever in Liverpool's history. I think he's the youngest starter in the FA Cup history as well. I think they said that correct on ITV as well. But again, very, very good performance from Rio Nguma. I think everyone is, since the summer has been anticipating, of course, his potential, appearance in the first team. Again, in the under-21s, it looks like he's been doing tremendously well. He's, of course, him alongside Jaden DANNS, alongside Trey Nyoni. Look, these players are now pretty much involved in the first team aspects of things, and now they're getting their opportunities. And again, we didn't see throughout the entire 90 minutes what Rio Nguma can do. But at the age of 16, he looks tremendously good. And again, of course, there was a reason why Chelsea was so angry in terms of losing him to us, and I think that will be a big reason. I also do think Liverpool themselves might have got a gem in that sense, in terms of, again, when we speak about, go out and get, an Mbappe, for example. Liverpool might have done that, because again, Chelsea very much didn't want to let go of Rio Nguma. They were very much adamant that they didn't want to get rid of him. But then, of course, obviously, he left Chelsea and come to us, which, thank God, looking at him again, and I've seen one or two games of his in the under 21 system. Again, he's been tremendous this season. When I've watched him, and again, he can skin defenders alive. I think there was that one or two opportunities where they tried to double mark him, and he would just glide in between them all. And I think that's something as well where, again, you don't need to pressure somebody like that. Of course, obviously allowing him pretty much, what was it, an hour, 70 minutes against Accrington Stanley. Again, that is good in itself. But I think, again, if Liverpool do get another home tie against the lower league opposition, I wouldn't be too surprised again if Rio Nguma got his opportunity again, because again, you've given a rest to Cody Gakpo, you've given a rest to Luis Diaz. And as well, he's offering a certain level of threat for Liverpool. And I think, like, for me, he was tremendous. I don't know if anybody else would agree with that. But for me, 100%, I thought he was really, really good. Anyway, but big up Hero as well, saying didn't see the game, but what I've heard has been very positive in terms of that. Of the guys that come on, no scenario has played a decent game. I think it wasn't it? It wasn't. It's certainly first off, it wasn't, plain sailing. Of course, Liverpool did struggle, I think, a little bit to break through. But again, once I think that first goal happened with the counter attack, I think then the writing was just on the wall, realistically. But I also say that, mind, I think Accrington were unlucky not to score because, again, our concentration levels not as good as what they normally are. But again, obviously I think that the main crucial point, of course, is the fact that, again, we've got rested, we've been able to rest players tonight. Obviously, you look at the rivals around us. Of course, obviously Arsenal, they've got to play probably their full strength team against Manchester United tomorrow. I think, again, I'm not too sure who Forest have got in the FA Cup. I will double check who they've got in a moment. Let me quickly double check who Nottingham Forest got. I don't know who they've got. Hang on a minute, chat. Let me type in Nottingham Forest. Who do they have? Oh, so they're currently 0-0 with Luton. So they're playing first team. No, they've rotated a little bit for our game as well. So again, are probably looking at, of course, towards our game as well, because it is a huge game. If Forest beat us, they're 3 points behind us. And of course we allow then, of course, them and Arsenal back into the race as well. Anyway, but we have James well saying Chiesa's goal assist Nunes should be ashamed as well. What do you mean? But Nunes can go to Everton if he wants, says Cal. I do think Nunes, that this was the game, wasn't it, for Darwin? As James even said, with their Chiesa goal and assist, Nunes needs selling as well. I think, look, Darwin, I think, again, him, obviously Jayden DANNS coming on, I think didn't really help that cause, did it? Realistically, because again, Jayden DANNS comes on, of course, does his goal was pretty much like a striker's goal. I would say. I think it was very much like a, the ball is there as an opportunity, and again, he's taking it. And again, Darwin doesn't really do that per se as well. So I do think, again, I do think Darwin's future is coming, or Liverpool's future, I do think is coming to an end. Again, I don't think he had a bad game today. I thought he was unlucky in some aspects, but again, it's kind of like, you can see the player there, but again, he is low on confidence at the moment. And also, I think, as everybody has said, I don't think he's an Arne slot striker. I think if he was to go to the Serie A, I think if he was to go to La Liga, I think he would belt in goals left, right, and centre. But I think Premier League wise, I think for Liverpool, I just don't think Darwin Nunes is the player for us, unfortunately. And again, I don't really want to put downers on him, but again, I think you have to be realistic with it, and I think you do. But again, look, I do think and of course we might speak about that a bit later on, of course, with of course the transfer show later. But I do think Liverpool, especially in terms of Darwin Núñez, I think if we're going to rank the attackers on who could be leaving, I think Darwin Núñez is at the top. Unfortunately, and look, you guys will know I was one of the first people that were banging on the drum of bringing him into the club, and it sadly hasn't worked out. Because I don't know whether or not if it's because of, again, the play style, the league itself, or whether or not it's the player. And we kind of got. It was similar when you have strikers, like for example now, like Omar Mamouche. Obviously he's going to go to Manchester City by the looks of things. Like again, the way Frankfurt play isn't what Manchester City plays, but Omar Mamouche has been one of the most informed players or attackers this season. I wonder whether or not that's kind of a similar deal. In terms of, again, Darwin Núñez at Benfica was amazing. And he was, and we haven't seen that version of Darwin Núñez at Liverpool. We might have done in patches, but on a consistent level where we're speaking it over a long period of time, we've definitely not seen that version of Darwin Núñez at Liverpool, unfortunately, anyway. But again, let me know your guys' thoughts, of course, on the game as well. But Talio, all being thoughts on Núñez. I've just gone through that. Big up, Gary. Here it says, who would you ditch out of the first team for a player from the youth? If I was to go with anyone, well, like I said, I think Rio Nguma is going to have a bright future for Liverpool. You look at Jayden DANNS. Jayden DANNS has scored now I think all his goals for Liverpool now has come in the FA Cup. So, look, when you look at it like that, just played Jayden DANNS in the FA Cup all season. But no, I think Rio Nguma, Trainioni, I think them two, I think will definitely be on the front or the first team for this season for sure. But Callum says not a bad game, but it's Accrington Stanley, not Real Madrid. Exactly, 100%. But look, it's the thing is, it's so easy to slip up against these types of teams because, again, that game for Accrington is their game of the season. And how many times have we seen it through history where the big team has played the youngsters, or gone a bit mixed, and we've been knocked out. I remember a couple of years back where we got beat by was it Hull in the FA Cup, when we shouldn't have lost to Hull, and that was kind of like a what the hell happened there. But of course, obviously, you're talking about different different scales, of course. But look, I do think it's good the fact that we can play the youth with experience and get away with it as well anyway. But big up George as well, hopefully doing well. Isn't Chelsea playing George as well? I don't actually know if they are. The only game I know that's on later is it City against Salford, I think, at the minute. I think that'll be on in a minute. But the Accrington Stanley, who the fuck are they? Get the milk out, Cal. Anyway, but so it says, keep up the good work, Liverpool, win the Premier League. Good luck for that as well. Who's doing well, mate? Núñez will play a part in winning the Prem. He will. I think. Look, if he does stay for, I think he stays for the season. I think, of course, with the rumors around Kvaratskhelia, around, of course, whether or not you'll get him coming in and Liverpool maybe selling a player again, whether that be Núñez or Chiesa, again, will be seen. But I think I just do think this is Darwin's last 6 months with Liverpool, and that's just a gut feeling of me. Of course, that's not like a any known knowledgement or anything like that, but it's just that factor of where you look at it and you go, can Liverpool improve on the position? 100%. Liverpool can definitely go out there and buy a striker who is more of an honest slot number 9, but also will improve again the first team. And that's something, again, Liverpool are kind of in that crossroads at the minute where we don't need squad players necessarily now, with the team that we've got, but excuse me, but we need elite first team players, at the club. You look at, oh, we need somebody who's going to, project themselves into, of course, the first team player. Like you look at centre back, for example, Hato at Ajax. He's supposedly meant to be the next best centre back, in the world. So Liverpool need to go and make that deal. Kvaratskhelia, again, 24 years old, again, one of the top left-sided forwards in world football. If he's available for 50-60 million, you go out and do that deal, because like Liverpool could very well be losing potentially, Luis Diaz or Darwin Núñez, and again, you add a quality attacker, to your team. So I think, look, Liverpool, they need to be looking in that category, and of course, everyone will go, oh well, FSG don't buy, they don't do this, they don't do that. I'd kind of argue that point in terms of Liverpool will only do it if it makes sense, and also if it's going to improve the team. Similar with, like, you look at Zubimendi, for example, the club thought um, nobody else was better than a Zubimendi, for example, in the summer, and they decided to stick with who they've got, of course, with Ryan Gravenberch. But I think in the summer, if Zubimendi turned around and went, yeah, I want to leave Sociedad, he'd go, I think Liverpool would be one of the first people in and go, come on, we'll do a deal now, as well. And I do believe that anyway. But Carl says Kavicha, DANNS for Núñez as well, potentially. We'll have to see. But Hero says DANNS is impressive. He's like a wall, 100%. Anyway, aren't you the bloke who hit a perfect leg? I am not Michael Smith. Go away, George. It was Wolves at Anfield 2-1. We lost as well. Yeah, I remember. I think Emre Can losing his mind in that game, because again the midfield was just awful that day, to be fair. But wasn't it him the last time DANNS come on the field and two defenders bounced off of him? Yeah, it probably was, to be fair. But I was offered tickets for the game 5 minutes before it started. Joke as well. Yeah, 100%. What do you think about Liverpool need to sign players or not? I went to see Liverpool go get I think it's top left winger. Again, I don't think Liverpool need 100 signings, but of course, I think one or two quality signings to, of course, back up certain positions, like especially now if Ibu, excuse me, if Ibu is injured, go and get Hato. If you, and I always have the same like thought process of if Liverpool have an idea of a player to go out and get in the summer, if there's a 1% chance you go and get them in January, go and do it. If of course if you have to go and pay an extra 5-10 million pounds, then go and do it, because especially this season in particular, Liverpool have the chance to win a Premier League, a Champions League. They have a very, very, very good chance of getting them this season, because I think once Liverpool are at their best, I think Liverpool again are one of the hardest teams to beat in Europe this season. And again, everything would suggest that, look, we've just come off a 24 game unbeaten run. Again, we've only lost once in the league this season. Again, we haven't lost in the Champions League. Of course, obviously losing to Spurs, but again, hopefully that will be overturned at Anfield. But again, based on evidence, Liverpool are the toughest team to beat in Europe this season. And hopefully, again, if you brought in one or two players, even one player, you saw how, when we've gone for a title in the past, when Luis Diaz come into the football club, we didn't necessarily need him, because again, we had Sadio Mane, we had Bobby Firmino, we had Divock Origi playing up top if one of the front three were missing. But then we ended up bringing in Luis Diaz and playing Sadio Mane down the middle for the rest of the 6 months. And we played probably the best football that we played ever under Jurgen Klopp in that time period as well. So I think when you look at that, again, if we can bring in a Kvaratskhelia or go on and get somebody else that will benefit the team, then go and do it. And I think that's the main thing for Liverpool, need to go out and do it. There's a necessity to go out and do it just for the sake of it. But I think with Liverpool, there's a real chance that Liverpool can do something special. And if we don't act upon it, look at Man City right now. They've just gone and signed, a very good centre back from Lens. They're going to go and sign Omar Mamouche. They're also, I think, going to go and get a Brazilian defender as well. So they're making moves, and they're nowhere near, a title race. They're nowhere near that conversation this season, but they're making moves for future proofing. Again, certain positions, and that's what Liverpool need to be doing instead of standing still, in my opinion, as well. But I call him Barbea in, and maybe a centre back. Hato, it would be for me, Cal. I think Hato, especially, would be the guy that I definitely would love Liverpool to go and get, 100%. And look, Liverpool might have other ideas, but I think, considering the players that I think Liverpool are being linked with, he'd definitely be the guy that I'd go for. Anyway, but I'm going to leave it there for tonight, guys. Big thank you to everyone for tuning in. Like I said, make sure you are tuned in later. We're going to be live maybe at 9 o'clock, 9 o'clock tonight, talking about Kvaratskhelia. Of course, news has come out. Obviously, I was doing editing stuff for this, but obviously news did come out about him. Of course, I think he's told Napoli he wants to leave. So again, there might be some news for Liverpool in that sense as well. Of course, obviously news with PSG as well. So we might do a live on that later. But if not, it will be a tomorrow show anyway for you guys, of course. But like I said, good win for the Reds. Of course, man of the match for me. I'm going to go for go Trent. Why not? I think Trent had a good game. I think like it could be a lot of people. I think him, Rio and Guma, I thought had a really good game. Again, you could go Federico Chiesa for him getting his goal. Jaden DANNS as well. Again, I'm just thinking through the team. Wataru Endo as well, you could say. I think he was very, very solid for a big period of time throughout the game. But I'm going to give it a Trent. But look, as Carl said, there, Chiesa is my man of the match. Again, it could be Federico Chiesa. I thought he was brilliant when he came on as well. So, but again, hopefully, we'll get a progression now from it. Hopefully we will get, like we spoke about earlier, where Federico Chiesa will now, bounce back off of this and, keep going in terms of, again, his progression, in terms of, again, his fitness. You hope he can do that. But of course, being behind Mo Salah is difficult enough. But again, once Mo needs a rest, or Mo needs, or there's some drop off there, you need somebody then like a Chiesa at full strength to go on and push the team on a bit more, or even you could even bring on both of them at the same time, because he did drift out to the left at times as well when he did come on. So look, it's definitely a good option for Liverpool's front line. You would think so, of course, anyway. But like I said, guys, that's going to be it from me for the post-match reaction, of course. Like I said, make sure you are tuned in, or check us out on Twitter, or, of course, make sure you are looking, of course, obviously with the notifications on with a post-match reaction, with, of course, the transfer show. But, of course, for me, Trent's my man of the match, but even still, Liverpool through to the next round of the FA Cup. Let me know who you guys would want, of course, in the next round. Of course, if you are watching the repeat, I think a lot of people would like an easy team, but still, if we can rotate for a little bit, considering, the games that's going on at the moment, again, that would be a good thing for Liverpool. But of course, most important thing, we're through to the fourth round of the FA Cup. And as Callum said there, I want Everton. Well, they need to get through first. They are through, to be fair. There's me going, they need to get through. Of course, they are already through. Of course, I didn't really think about it, to be fair. But Arne Slot's now going to play a David Moyes Everton twice now this season. Jesus Christ, that's going to be horrific. Anyway, but look, hopefully you guys have a fantastic rest of your day anyway. If you're new around here, like I said, please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button if you're new, and of course, make sure you are tuned in later for the transfer show anyway. But like I said, until next time, guys, that's going to be it from me. I've been Connor from the COP Council. I'll see you guys later. Ta-ra.